coming your way live from the Seaport District of Pier 17, brought to you by Chase. And here's your menu for this hour of Get Up. We're getting up with the Lakers. Now this has gotten completely out of hand. You won't believe what happened to them in Memphis last night. You're going to see it and hear LeBron's very strong reaction in a minute. Then, no Zion tonight. Sean has told you the last thing you're expecting anyone to say about the presumptive #1 pick. We'll talk about him and what they can do in his absence. And the streak is over for the Beard. Jalen tells you this might be the best thing that could have happened for the reigning MVP. All that and more in this hour of Get Up, which again starts with the Lakers taking on the Grizz. And Jalen, this opening sequence, we're in the first quarter here, and just look at the lack of defensive intensity that you're going to see from the Lakers.
And that's basically what it's been all season, Greeny. Not defending the three-wheel, not defending the paint, not giving extra effort plays, hustle plays, as you see Memphis continuing to move the basketball until they finally get the shot that they want.
Yeah, they got to get it on a tip-in here. I mean, look, there's not a lot of LeBron even involved in this. Not a lot of defensive intensity. Again, first quarter of action is what it is. But then you got the Grizzlies. You got Avery Bradley. Oh, Brandon Ingram. Not a great moment for him. Bradley breaking ankle. Grizzlies up 5 at halftime.
It's never good when the guy went #2 overall in the draft.
The Lakers down 5 in the fourth now, and here comes a controversial moment in a night filled with a few of them. LeBron's going to lay it up. Joakim Noah's going to swat this out of here. How this is not goaltending, I have no idea. Watch where the ball is when Noah goes after it. Here's LeBron after the game.
Now, I won't even tell you what the explanation was, but what he told me was the ball went off the backboard, and when the ball hit the rim, he was allowed to touch the ball. That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, certainly not when you watch it again. One way or another, with 1 minute left, the Lakers would be down 4. LeBron's going to get out in transition. He's going to get the bucket and the foul of Jalen. He's got to go up and make this foul shot.
Absolutely. You look at the score of the game, it's a one-possession game. LeBron makes his free throw. It affects the outcome. Not only that, but how they play these last few possessions.
Exactly. So now what happens off the miss here, just watch the shot clock. You're at 17, you're at 16, you're at 15. That's 9 seconds, and they haven't gotten it over the line. Should have been an 8-second call. Yep. They don't get it. They're forced to foul, the Lakers are, and so now they get one last chance. 30 seconds to go. Lakers are down 4 again, and LeBron's going to get called for the charge right there. Good call, bad call.
I thought Joakim Noah was still moving, but it was a bang-bang play. Well, I think when you're the best player in the game, you normally get the benefit of the whistle.
LeBron got the triple-double, but not the benefit of the win. Grizzlies take it. LeBron, listen to this.
Playoff push and the fact that that's all anybody's talking about with 25 games to go, basically. Has that become a distraction at all? And does it affect the way, have you felt like it has affected the way your team plays in close situations?
At this point, if you are still allowing distractions to affect the way you play, then this is the wrong franchise to be a part of, and you should just come and be like, listen, I can't do this. Like, seriously, if you're distracted by playoff pushes and then all the stuff that's been talked about this year, that just come and do your job. We do our job at a high level, and that's not a distraction. That's what you want. That's what you want every game. You want to feel like you're fighting for something.
All right, so LeBron and the Lakers struggling, and BPI doesn't think it's going to get any better. In the previous 25 seasons, excluding strike-shortened years, only 39 of 311 teams that were under 500 through 60 games ended up in the playoffs. That's 13%, and as we've told you, BPI gives this group of Lakers only a 6% chance to get into the playoffs. Sean Farnham, do you believe the Lakers will get into the playoffs?
No, not at all. And it goes back to the same thing we talked about on Friday when we were on the program. It's fine. You have a nice win. You beat Boston. Okay, what'd you do? Oh, you lose to the Hawks. It's the inconsistencies in this group. If you want to make the postseason from where they're at right now in the Western Conference, you need to string together 4, 5, 6 wins in a row. Look at their upcoming schedule and tell me where you're going to find these. All right, they might beat the Pelicans because the Pelicans just really don't want to win. But they're not beating the Bucks. They're probably not beating the Clippers. They're not beating the Nuggets. They're not beating the Celtics. They're going to lose those games. And by the way, we can't even say that they're going to beat the Suns because those are the teams they're losing to right now.
Jalen, I was particularly interested in what we heard LeBron saying there, because when he says, if you're still being distracted, then you're in the wrong franchise. Well, unless I'm crazy, is he talking to Kyle Kuzma, Lonzo Ball, and Brandon Ingram and all these guys? Is he talking about the trade conversations?
Yeah, he stopped himself short of saying if you're distracted by a playoff push for a team that's won 4 of their last 14 games, or trade rumors.
Right.
He just didn't say that part. You need to play for another franchise. He tried to get them to play for another franchise. It's that the Pelicans didn't return their call, and they were not able to do a deal. And here's what happened. I played on some really good teams. I played on some poor teams. I watched that game. And when you're a 500 team or below, it seems like you never get the benefit of the whistle. That's just how it works when you're not a good team. When everything is humming and you're playing well and the extra effort plays are there, you get the benefit of the whistle. When you're below 500 team, it just doesn't happen.
I would just like to say that I feel like we're forgetting the fact that Lonzo Ball's injury has an effect on the way that this team plays, and a high ankle sprain is not easy to come back from or be 100% from. I also think it would take a Herculean effort. I believe that's a word, but they have Hercules. He's LeBron James. Like, it could still happen. And we kind of looked at that schedule, and they did beat the Celtics. Maybe an accident. I get it, Jalen. You get mad every time I say that. You know what I mean? Like, there are some games out there that they could still win, and again, you're trying to beat out, like the Spurs.
Okay, but seriously, though, would you put dinner, a nice New York dinner, on a Monday night?
For you, Sean, Jalen, and Greeny, I would.
Okay, so that's how confident you are they're going to make the playoffs.
That's how confident I am.
This is a good bet for all of us.
I want to give Maria and Lakers fans some hope. While they are struggling, the reason why they aren't panicking is the San Antonio Spurs have been in the free fall.
Yep.
The Clippers don't want to make the playoffs because they want to keep their first-round pick instead of the Celtics actually getting it. And the Sacramento Kings have never been in this position before, and they've lost their last couple of games. That's the hope for the Los Angeles Lakers. So if they do get in, they're definitely going to back in, and then they're going to play the Golden State Warriors in the first round. And whoever plays against the Warriors in the first round will be losing in 5.
I'm in on dinner either way. Someplace with, preferably someplace with a sommelier. But may I turn to you quickly and say, this obviously has been rough. And we knew there'd be up and downs. Has this been worse than you expected it to be for the Lakers in LeBron's first season?
Yeah, it's been a massive disappointment. And look, I live in L.A. I hear it. I mean, you go to the coffee shop and everybody's talking as soon as LeBron James, we're going to get to the playoffs. I mean, we could be a 6 seed. We could maybe, people are like, hey, we could maybe get to a 4. It's like, that's too much. But for Laker fans in particular, this is an organization that drives Los Angeles. And I would tell you that even with the Rams making the Super Bowl, there were more people interested in Anthony Davis potentially becoming a Laker than even the Rams making the Super Bowl. And so there's disappointment with the way this season has gone.
Well, the good news, Lakers fans, is you beat the Rockets, but you did lose to the Hawks, but they both played each other last night. So we're going to do the highlight right now. Let's do it, Jalen, because
the Rams only scored 3 points in the Super Bowl.
They did.
Well, that was
so a lot
too.
of disappointment. If you were wanting
if they don't get Bryce Harper, it's over.
You might be disappointed about this too. A couple of missed threes. Remember, he's already got 32 straight 30-point games. Okay, trying to make it 33, but the 3 ball was not falling for Harden last night, Jalen.
He was going for it, Maria. 21 field goal attempts, 0 for 10 from 3, 16 free throw attempts as well.
Well, the good news is once he started drawing in defenders, making the extra pass.
There we go.
There you go. Austin Rivers knocking down the 3 in the corner. Harden had 17 points through 3 quarters, which is his fewest since December 6th. But he is coming off a neck injury. Remember, he didn't play on Saturday against the Warriors. Then he starts dropping those in.
Rivers has been a nice in-season pickup. It's helped solidify their backcourt minutes when guys been in and out of the lineup.
Harden makes it 21 points with that lay-in, and then after 2 free throws, he's got 23. How about another 3? Oh, no, that's not going to go either. Sorry.
They're doing a good job of suffocating him at the 3 line. That's what teams normally do in the playoffs to force him to do this. Float on. That's what he's going to have to do. Play some mid-range.
I like that. Float on. We'll take the teardrop then. That gave him 28 points. Final seconds of the game. Harden has the ball. The fans are cheering. Go. You got to score. 2 points away. And he picks it up after he gets over half-court line.
Do you think if the Hawks didn't surround him like that, he would have shot the ball?
You tell me.
No, I don't
Absolutely, he would have shot the ball. I've seen him do it in his 30-game streak.
Well, the good news is
footage.
Rockets win it. Harden doesn't have 30 points, but he still seems happy in the locker room after.
It was great, but I was just doing it because that's what we had to do in order to keep our heads above water. Now we get our full roster back. You look at the roster, the stat line, we had multiple guys in double figures, which is great to see. So hopefully we can keep that up. And we got 22 more games left to kind of catch rhythm and, find a rhythm for where we're trying to go.
The streak had kind of taken a life of its own. Are you almost happy a little bit that it's over?
Yeah. It was cool. I know I wasn't going to get to number 1, so.
It was cool or whatever. I could have taken the shot. I didn't. Just how impressive was Harden's streak, though? Take a look at this, guys. Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal now on the longest active streaks, scoring 30 points, and that's with 3 games and 2 games, respectively. Remember, his ended at 32 games.
Maria, can I remind the world of something? That Russell Westbrook is averaging a triple-double for the 3rd straight season.
Yeah.
Hashtag never forget.
Okay. I never thought somebody would do that. I thought my favorite player is Magic Johnson. Somebody would have done that by now.
No, it hadn't happened. How about Kevin Durant last night? Warriors, Hornets. KD was just red hot. First quarter, watch the moves. Unstoppably would score 13 in the first.
That's just nasty. A guy 6'11" with unlimited range can flirt with 50, 40, 90 seasons. That's why he's a prolific scorer.
But here's why this team is so good. But you're going to see DeMarcus Cousins outside and then inside. They've added all of this.
Well, the one thing about playing for the Golden State Warriors, when you boogie, it's great to have a season high. However, I look deeper into the box score. Zeller was doing work on the other side, too. He had like 28 and 9.
Yeah, but the box score, the part that matters was that Cousins had 24 and 11. And then this happens to him. This is just a ridiculous sequence here. Jeremy Lamb loses his shoe on the floor. It's in the middle of the action. They don't stop the action. DeMarcus Cousins flips the shoe out of the way and is called for a technical. The rule is you cannot throw anything into the stands at any time. No room for judgment, I suppose, because had there been, you certainly would not have called a T on DeMarcus Cousins here, and he was frustrated.
Next time, just step on the shoe and roll my ankle, break it, tear the Achilles, just leave it out there next time. I guess that's what they want. I keep that in mind.
All right, so frustration from him on that. Candidly, I'm completely on his side. But either way, he played well, and the Warriors got the win. Let's hear from Steve Kerr.
This is the happiest he's looked. He looked the most comfortable tonight, and he made a couple moves around the hoop where he showed great agility, and so this is the best he's looked. I don't know what he would say if you asked him if it was his best game, but he looked great.
K been preaching I ain't gonna say preaching. K been cussing me out. Just about stop thinking about it and just go play my game. I found some spots and, made some plays. So, like I said, it's good to get a good one under my belt.
All right, is he starting to round into form offensively? We'll see. He was 5 of 9 when contested yesterday. That's his most makes in a game this season. He entered the game shooting just 27% when contested. So the Warriors get the win. Let me get you to the latest from the baseball, because if you check your calendar, it says February 26th. And Bryce Harper still doesn't have a baseball team. We talked to our baseball insider, Jeff Passan, earlier this morning about the very latest on Harper's prolonged free agency.
It looks like we're finally starting to move toward a conclusion. Sources are telling me that they believe some kind of an agreement is going to be in place probably by the end of the week. Now, we've heard that before, and this sounds like a broken record, but people with the Phillies, with the Dodgers, get the sense that Bryce Harper's decision is going to be coming soon. And the big question is, will he want the long-term deal that he's been holding out for this entire time? Or will he consider taking a short-term deal with the Dodgers and going to play for a team that's been to back-to-back World Series?
Those are the questions. And again, as we bring Mark Teixeira back into it, the fact that we still have questions on February 26th it's unprecedented, and candidly, it's startling. And how do you think this plays in Philadelphia if and when he does eventually take the deal there?
It's very interesting because let's assume that there's a 10-year, $300+ million offer out there. That's what Harper's looking for, $400 million. So I don't think we'd be having this conversation if Philly wasn't close. But let's just say he does sign with Philly and he shows up and there's a perception that he didn't want to play in Philly. The pressure on him is going to be incredible. I mean, we talk about the best, craziest fans being in New York and Boston with the Yankees and Red Sox, but guess where the toughest fans in baseball are? They're in Philly. Mm-hmm. I've heard the home fans boo their home players for years. Mm-hmm. So if Harper comes in here, there's any type of perception he didn't want to be there, it's going to be very difficult.
That sounds like the toughest fans just in Philly in general. All the way around, they talk about it. But if he does sign a deal with the Dodgers, are we talking about a situation where we automatically accept them as World Series favorites? Like, is that the kind of baseball we're talking about?
I think National League favorites. Mm-hmm. I mean, I look up and down the National League, and the Dodgers are still the best team. They still have the best roster. You have Corey Seager coming back healthy this year. You have Walker Buehler as the ace of the staff now, throwing 98 miles an hour with a dirty slider. This is a team that can get back to the World Series without Bryce Harper. You add him to the mix, and they're absolutely the favorites in the NL.
And just to sort of put a ribbon on the conversation from Philly's standpoint, I mean, the reporting that we had was that they have drawn a line in the sand. February 26th, what do you make of that?
February 20th, it should be December 26th when you draw a line in the sand. I mean, for me, when I was a free agent, I signed my contract right before Christmas. I thought that was late. So here we are. Spring training games are started. When does it become late if you're the Phillies and Bryce Harper or the Dodgers and Bryce Harper? It's been late for a while.
Yeah, what's the expression? It gets late early out here. It has gotten late out here, and we'll see. And by the way, meanwhile on planet Earth yesterday, as this news was breaking of the Dodgers' renewed interest in Bryce Harper, do you believe in these kinds of omens? This was outside the Dodgers facility. There was actually a Brinks truck parked just outside their spring training facility. Were they backing up the truck with a whole bunch of cash to dump in the direction of Bryce Harper? I guess only they know for sure. But if you believe in that sort of thing, the Brinks truck at Dodgers camp is not a bad sign. Maria.
Oh, there's probably a Brinks truck near this guy, too. Zion Williamson, he's been ruled out for tonight's game against Virginia Tech, but Williamson leads the Blue Devils with 15 points per game in the paint, which is third most in Division I. Duke has not been as efficient down low without their starting center, but they're still making it work. And I have to fully admit, Sean Farnham, that I really, really like R.J. Barrett. Like, he's one of my favorite players in college basketball right now. This is the numbers he puts up against top 10 teams. Right now, 26 points. He shoots at about 50% from 2, 40% from 3, and we saw what he did against Syracuse, but how is he making it happen?
Look, this is a guy that can play in all phases of the game. He can impact. We saw it with the triple-double that he had.
Sure.
I mean, he can really hurt you in a variety of ways. So let's go look at different ways that R.J. Barrett can influence the game. As we watch this play right here, you're going to see the screen get set here. What R.J. is doing is he's reading this defensive player, the defender on the screen, because he knows if this defensive player starts to take some steps back, that's going to create a seam for him to drive. Well, what happens? Defensive player goes back, he goes left. Just from a historical perspective, he finishes excessively better than James Harden going to his left than he did in college, and even better than this year. All right, let's look at this. Now you've got Zion Williamson. He's going to attack the paint. These guys are all frozen because of that. What R.J. Barrett recognizes is I've got a shooter right here. I'm going to make a simple play. I'm not going to force the game. I'm not going to force up a drive, even though I'm efficient at it. I'm going to make my teammate better. It's little things like this that helps make R.J. Barrett's game so much better. You've got his defensive player. You're helping off of R.J. Barrett. What do you have to do? The biggest thing as a shooter on the outside, relocate just ever so slightly, creates a longer run out. That longer run out leads to an uncontested, wide-open three-point shot. This is why R.J. Barrett, to me, again, should be the number one pick because his talent level translates extremely well to the NBA level. But more importantly, it's why Duke, even without Zion Williamson, is going to go into Virginia Tech tonight and get a victory.
I think it's interesting, too, because against Syracuse, you know they play that zone. So he was almost the 4. Like, he had to go into the soft spot and constantly make plays there. We've seen his versatility. I mean, what have you seen from the versatile R.J. Barrett?
He's never uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I saw this young man when he was 16 years old going against a healthy Michael Porter Jr. at the Nike Hoop Summit. And I left that week with everybody already signed. He was the youngest guy there by 2 years. He was the guy that was most impressive out of any of them. That's why I'm such a big fan out of him, because he never gets rattled. He's been on the big stage before in the spotlight. And without Zion, the spotlight is shining on RJ, and he's shining.
I think we forget how young he is, because remember, he reclassified. So he's one of the youngest players as well. And let's talk about the help that he may or may not receive against, say, a Virginia Tech team. Cam Reddish has to shoot the ball well. We have to see more from Trey Jones. Do you see that happening as the time progresses and Zion is not on the court?
Yeah, I think what you start to see even from the first game when this transpired against North Carolina, they were out of sorts. And they were stunned, and they didn't respond well. You were there. Yeah. Electric environment, great pictures with Obama, by the way.
Thank you.
All right, but you watch it against Syracuse, and this was a team that was far more comfortable with where they had to get the ball. Delorier had a much better game underneath, and they're trying to find ways to get other people involved. And that's why I don't worry too much about tonight's game, because you're looking at a Virginia Tech team, too, without Justin Robinson, that has lost their floor leader, and that's much more of a substantial loss because it's impacted them at both sides of the ball. R.J. Barrett is going to lead the way again tonight. The complementary pieces are just fine at Duke. We don't have to hit the panic button on Duke.
The question that we always ask when we're talking about college basketball, especially in the one-and-done era, is where are you going when you get drafted? And you would take him number 1 overall.
I would take him number 1 overall.
Jalen Rose almost came
I'd get
off
fired. Yeah. I'd get fired as general manager because we wouldn't sell seats like we would if Zion's there. But this man can flat out go. He is legit.
All right, 14 for 20 against Syracuse. That's shooting 70% without Zion on the floor against a zone. And oh, by the way, in case you didn't know it, Steve Nash is his godfather. His dad played for the Canadian national team, and he's only, 18? So the guy is pedigree, and obviously he puts up the numbers to make him productive. Coming up next on Get Up, ESPN.com released their new power rankings, and the Warriors are not the number 1 team. Who is, and why is it right to make this call? And Anthony Davis played last night for the Pelicans. just not when it really actually mattered. And if you were a teammate, how angry would you be? We've got some professional athletes out here. Maybe we'll ask them the question.